You're not failing because you lack resources. You're failing because you lack discomfort. Every excuse you're about to give, I've heard it before. You're broke, so were they. You don't have support, neither did he. You're lost? Good. That means you're exactly where you should be. Because growth starts where comfort ends. You're not out of chances. You're just scared to start. And this video, it's not to motivate you. It's here to make you squirm, to punch your ego in the throat. Because you're not failing. You're just soft. Let's fix that. You think you're struggling? You think your problem is money? Andy Frisella started with $7 a day and a tiny supplement store nobody walked into. No sales, no brand, no followers. Just a dusty room in St. Louis and a dream that was way too loud for the life he was living. And here's the part that'll slap you. He stayed broke for nearly a decade. 10 years. No trending TikToks. No viral reels. No pity party GoFundMe. 10 years of being invisible, broke, and forgotten. Let me say this clearly. You're not failing because the algorithm hates you. You're failing because when it got hard, you backed off. Andy didn't. You want to know what $7 gets you? Not much. But it's not about the $7. It's about what he did with it. Every day, he showed up at that failing storefront. No heat in the winter. No AC in the summer. No customers at the door. He'd stand behind the counter for 12 hours, hoping someone would walk in. Most days, no one did. He cleaned shelves. He studied products. He rehearsed sales pitches to the walls. Because he knew something you still don't. If you're not obsessed, you're not built for this. You want a sign? He went 10 years without one. You want encouragement? He didn't get any. You want motivation? He created it in the silence. Andy had every excuse to quit. He got robbed, got stabbed in the face, literally. 18 stitches, permanent scar. Most people would have called it a sign to stop. But Andy, he called it a reminder. A reminder that the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. That the minute you stop fighting, you get buried. So he pushed harder. He didn't lower his standards. He raised his threshold for pain. And that's what separates winners from watchers. Pain tolerance. You want to build something that lasts? You better learn to bleed without crying. Years went by. Still no riches. Still no spotlight. Still no followers. But one thing was stacking in the dark. Discipline. While others were chasing shortcuts, Andy was sharpening his edge. Then, one day, the store started getting traction. A few loyal customers turned into dozens. Dozens turned into hundreds. But Andy didn't celebrate. He went harder because he wasn't addicted to success. He was addicted to becoming dangerous. Fast forward to now, he runs multiple 9-figure businesses. He founded 75 Hard, a mental toughness program that breaks people because they've never been forced to finish anything in their life. He built an empire off grit, off scars, off the lessons that broke softer men. No viral hacks, no angel investors, just violence of effort, and yet you're still here, whining about your camera quality, complaining about burnout after 2 weeks, saying nobody supports me. Andy built alone, he bled in silence, and while you're crying for likes, he's turning wolves into warriors. You don't need $10,000 to start, you don't need perfect conditions. You need the ability to suffer with purpose. You need the balls to do something painful every day without applause, without a deadline, without dopamine. That's what 75 Hard is built on. You know why most people fail that challenge? Because they've never kept a promise to themselves in their entire life. They break when it's inconvenient. They quit when it's boring. They crumble when no one's watching. And if that stings, good. It's meant to. Because deep down, you know it's true. Let me make something brutally clear. You're not failing because the world's unfair. You're failing because you're soft. You crave attention but avoid accountability. You chase results but dodge routine. You want greatness without paying rent in the trenches. Andy paid with years, with blood, with everything he had. And he didn't ask for permission. He didn't need permission. He decided. That's what changed everything. So now the question is, what the hell are you going to do? Keep blaming your parents, your job, your trauma, the algorithm? Or are you going to shut the fuck up and show up every day, even when it sucks? Even when it's invisible, even when nobody claps. That's what Andy did, and it's why you're watching him now. while he's 10 moves ahead, and you're still planning. So here's your mirror. If you're not willing to suffer privately, don't expect to be praised publicly. If you're not building in silence, don't expect to be applauded in the spotlight. You want Andy's outcome? Start with Andy's hell. You've got more than 7. You've got more resources than he ever did. What you don't have is the fire. So don't you dare say you can't. What you mean is you won't. Now pick your poison. Stay soft, stay bitter, stay broke, or get to war with your weaknesses. Because comfort kills. Let's get uncomfortable. You remember 2020, don't you? The world shut down. People cried recession. TikTok blew up. And most of you sat at home waiting for normal to come back. But while you were watching Netflix in your pajamas, a few college students were doing something else. They were building GoPeer. A tutoring startup used Zoom and school closures to grow quickly. It connected students and tutors across America during the pandemic. And before you say, lucky timing, let me stop you right there. This wasn't luck. This was strategy under pressure. Meet Ethan Binder and his co-founders. College students, no massive funding, no tech empire background, just a brutal clarity about one thing. Education is broken, and broken things create opportunity. While parents panicked about their kids falling behind, while teachers fumbled with webcams and PDFs, these guys leaned into the flames. They didn't wait for stability. They built inside the storm. That's what separates winners from watchers. You cry when systems collapse. They capitalize. Ethan wasn't building from a fancy office. They launched GoPeer from a damn dorm room. You know what they had? Crappy Wi-Fi, cheap laptops, unlimited student loan debt, and a reason. That's all they needed. They matched struggling K-12 students with top-tier college tutors live over Zoom for just $20 per hour. Not $100 per hour like old-school tutoring. Not some corporate pipeline BS. Real kids, real tutors, real results. And while most startups were pulling back during the pandemic, GoPeer? They pushed harder. They expanded nationwide, built a platform from scratch. On board 16,000 plus students in under a year. And while your favorite creators were blogging their anxiety and playing Among Us, these guys were out here turning education panic into millions. Now you want to say they were smart? Sure, but so are you. You want to say they had help? They raised a tiny seed round after traction. Not before. They didn't wait for venture capital. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't need an office. They didn't cry about timing. They saw pain. They built for it. And pain paid them back. Let's talk about you. What did you do during COVID? Did you finally start that brand? Or did you binge 17 productivity podcasts while your screen time hit 12 hours a day? Be honest. You saw opportunity too, but you chose to scroll, not scale. They were pitching parents. You were pitching tents in Animal Crossing. They were matching students with tutors. You were matching socks while avoiding emails. Because here's the brutal truth. When the world slows down, real players speed up. GoPeer didn't invent tutoring. They didn't invent Zoom. They just removed excuses. They made it faster, simpler, better. You call it innovation. They call it obvious. But that's what happens when you're not addicted to comfort. When other kids were begging for extensions on homework, Ethan was extending server capacity. When others complained about online learning, he turned it into a product. And now, they're partnered with districts, backed by investors, changing how tutoring works in this country, because they use chaos as leverage, not an excuse. This is what you need to learn. Hard times don't break winners. They reveal them. And if you're still waiting for things to calm down, you'll wait your whole damn life. There's no perfect moment. There's only this one, where you either move with urgency or get crushed by hesitation. You're not broke because of the economy. You're broke because of fear. You didn't miss the opportunity. You ignored it because it came dressed as risk. Let me make this brutally clear. The world doesn't care about your comfort. It rewards those who solve problems under pressure. GoPeer did. While most of you were on pause, They pressed record on a legacy. You want to build something? Then stop looking for green lights. Run the red ones with purpose. Start before you're ready. Build before you're praised. Launch before you're loved. Nobody's coming to validate your idea. Nobody's begging you to start. You either make a move or watch someone else do it better. GoPeer's founders didn't invent education. They didn't have PhDs. They just got uncomfortable enough to move when it was hard. And that's what made the difference. It always is. So now it's your turn. What are you building while the world's distracted? What problem are you solving while others complain? If the answer is nothing, then don't expect to be remembered. Because in this game, silence is failure. And waiting is just another word for fear with good PR. Let's get uncomfortable. You ever sit there, scrolling TikTok or YouTube, watching other people live your dream? Yeah, you know the feeling. You pause your life just to watch someone else win. But here's the kicker. Adin Ross was never supposed to be one of those people. He didn't have $1 million setup. He didn't have celebrity friends. He wasn't backed by some giant brand. He was just a kid with a mic, a screen, and a reason. And that reason? He refused to be invisible. You know what most of you do with your time? You scroll, you consume, you repost, you wait. But Adin? He clipped, he streamed, he asked, he spoke loud when others stayed quiet. He made noise when most of you were worried about what people would think. And guess what? That noise became empire. Let's rewind. Before the fame, before the viral moments, before $30 million and contracts and drama, it was just Adin in a small room, streaming for 10 people, talking to himself, chasing moments, chasing your attention. And unlike most of you, he didn't wait for perfect. He went live when things were ugly. His mic? Trash. His lighting? Garbage. His confidence? Barely there. But he showed up every single day. Because deep down, Adin understood a law most of you run from. Closed mouths don't get fed. You think you're better than him? Then where's your content? Where's your consistency? Where's your work? You think you're too serious to be on stream? Adin built an empire saying the wildest shit online and still monetized it harder than your top 10 mentors combined. Why? Because he moved. He risked. He spoke. While you sat in silence, afraid of judgment, Adin was out here testing reality. Here's the part that will really hurt. You're waiting for the perfect moment to start. He started when nobody cared. You're waiting for better content. He went live with laggy streams and awkward pauses. You're scared of hate. He got blamed every day and still never logged off. Because he knew this truth. Rejection isn't death. Silence is. So while you were lurking, he was stacking. He clipped himself, edited it, posted it, and rinsed it. Day after day, week after week. Eventually, people noticed. One viral moment, then another. Suddenly, he wasn't the viewer anymore. He was the main event. And now, he's sitting at the table with millionaires. He's streaming with artists, athletes, CEOs. He turned attention into a currency. While you keep praying for results without actions, Adin is cashing out on volume, visibility, and audacity. You're not quiet because you're introverted. You're quiet because you're scared. You don't post because you don't have ideas. You don't post because you're addicted to comfort. You don't pitch. You don't ask. You don't speak up. Then wonder why no one sees you. You're invisible because you chose to be. Adin didn't wait for acceptance. He forced the world to react. You think he's lucky? Then go try what he did. Go put yourself on the front lines of the internet every single day, knowing millions will clown you, judge you, cancel you. Most of you can't even handle one hate comment. He made a career out of controversy and doubled down every time people told him to stop. Let me break this down with no sugar. If you're broke, it's because you're quiet. If you're unknown, it's because you're hiding. If you're stuck, it's because you're playing safe. Adin didn't get rich off talent. He got rich off visibility and volume. He outlasted the trolls. He outposted the lazy. He outnoised the shy. You're sitting on potential. but your mouth's closed. Your camera's off. Your grind is silent. And you wonder why nobody's watching? Because you're invisible by choice. Here's what you need to hear. Nobody is coming to knock on your door and say, "Hey, you've got potential. Want to be famous?" That's not how this game works. You want to be noticed? Start shouting. You want to be paid? Start posting. You want to win? Then speak. Loud, constant, unapologetic. Adin Ross didn't build a brand. He built a signal in a world full of static. And you can sit there and judge him all day, but while you're analyzing, he's monetizing. And here's the most brutal part. You've got the same internet, the same tools, more talent, more education, more access. And yet, you're still waiting. You're still quiet. You're still scrolling. You're still hoping someone notices you. Stop that. Nobody is feeding closed mouths. Nobody is rewarding safe silence. Nobody is celebrating potential. They pay the ones who speak. So if you want to eat, start talking. If you want to win, start moving. If you want to change your life, open your mouth. Let's get uncomfortable. You sat through 3 stories of discomfort, pain, and violent effort. GoPeer's founders, built in chaos while the world panicked. Andy Frisella, bled in silence with $7 in his pocket. Adin Ross, screamed until the world had no choice but to listen. And you? You're still waiting for motivation. You're still talking about your potential like it's some lottery ticket. Here's the truth. You're not losing because life is unfair. You're losing because you're addicted to safety. Comfort is your drug. Excuses are your therapist. And every time it hurts a little, you pull back like it's fatal. Well, guess what? Comfort is the coffin. Silence is the enemy. Movement is the only way out. You don't need another plan. You need pain. You need discipline. You need to bleed forward. Because greatness isn't given. It's taken. And it's taken by people who don't flinch. So here's your choice. Stay soft. Stay invisible. Stay broke. Or get uncomfortable. Be loud. Move violently. Pain builds. Comfort kills. Let's get uncomfortable.